Hi, we're here on the Rushy, which is the real focus of attention at this time of year as Buick swan numbers are starting to build up. And I'd like you to come on a journey with me on the morning feed as I go around and feed the birds. Well, a lovely lot of geese following on at the moment. Two main species here at the moment. We've got the Canada geese with the long black necks and white face patches, natives of North America, of course, introduced into this part of the country and now well established in the wild. And lots of grey lags as well. They're slightly different. Huge numbers of wild grey lags will winter in the north of Britain, birds from Iceland, but not generally this far south. And these are grey lags coming over the top of us as well. Several hundred of them here at the moment. Generally not wintering this far south as wild birds. So these, like the Canadas, look at that wonderful flight in there, have been introduced into this part of the country. But unlike the Canadas, they actually belong here. And if we look back in history, we would find grey lags not just wintering, but even breeding in these areas. So a reintroduction for the grey lags. They really do belong here. I'm just going to move on just a little bit and throw a little more grain. This is one of my favourite parts of the pond here. We've got this wonderful zonation. At first this looks like a real scrum, a complete free-for-all, but there is some order out here. We've got the geese on the land, we've got the dabbling ducks, the mallards and the pintails in the shallow water there. Then we've got a line of swans reaching down with their long necks. And if I throw some grain out into the deeper water, we've got tufted ducks and pocher diving down to take the food. These birds, they're all feeding on the same food, but they're not competing directly. They've evolved to live alongside each other. They're all exploiting slightly different niches. And of course a lovely lot of swans. So let's concentrate on those for a moment. And what I'd like you to do is have a good close look at the patterns of black and yellow on the bills of these birds. And what I'd like you to do is look as closely as our founder, Peter Scott, did all those years ago when the first swans started to winter here. He had the sharp eyes of a great naturalist, a great wildlife artist. He realised there was enough variation that he could begin to identify them from those bill patterns. Now what you need to do is look very carefully at the front part of the bill as the swan looks straight at you. That's where you're going to see the greatest variation. Three main bill pattern types to watch out for. Just see if you can pick out any of those. The commonest are what we call the yellow nebs, those birds with lots of yellow right across that front part of the bill, clearly separating the black of the bill tip from the white feathers of the forehead. And you'll see those very quickly. The rarest type are what we call the dark nebs. There is one just out in front of me here actually, a dark neb with a solid, unbroken line of black down the front part of the bill. And the in-between sorts we call penny faces. Now these are birds with lots of black but with islands and spots of yellow in amongst that black, and often that's a nice neat round golden circle, hence the name penny face. But between those three main types there really is huge variation, and we can quite confidently identify these birds as individuals from year to year just by looking at photographing and drawing those bill patterns.
We've come down to Flamingo Lagoon today to talk whistling ducks. For the first time in a while, Slimbridge now holds 8 species of whistling duck, of which the Whiteface is undoubtedly one of our visitor favourites. The two distinguishing features of a whiteface whistling duck are, of course, its beautiful white face, but also its piercing and haunting whistle. It's the most exciting thing to see families walking around the grounds mimicking this call, and it's the wonderful sound that we can hear echoed around the hide today. They're really interesting on an avicultural level because the species originates both in South America and in Africa. This means that we can engage our visitors with the concept of the environment and ecology on a wider level. The whistling duck family are all characterised by those lovely long legs, perching toes and piercing whistles. And now that we have 8 on show for you to see, why don't you head around the grounds this January and see how many you can spot for yourselves.
Hello there, we're back in the otter pen with Flo and the girls, and at this time of year we make sure they get extra food to keep their energy levels up, keep themselves warm over the winter months. Now usually they get a variety of fish, sprats and trout and roach and such like, and we've added to the diet this year some shellfish, and they really like them, but obviously they're surrounded by the hard shell. So the otters, with their sharp incisors, will crack open the edge of the swan mussel where it's weakest, and then if it's a bigger shell such as this one, they'll use their strong side teeth to crack it open and prise it open to get the food inside. So Flo and the girls use their sharp teeth and their strong jaws to crack open the shellfish, just like our native otter and the swan mussels. But the sea otters on the west coast of America will actually use a rock on their chest and crack it open using it like an anvil or a hammer to break open the shell, and they'll actually eat quite big oysters and clams by doing that. Now at our other centres, Asian short-clawed otters also use their intelligence. They might be a bit brighter because all they do is bring the shellfish out, leave it on the bank and let the sun crack open the shells, and then they can get the tasty morsels inside. In the coming months, as well as the Otter Talks, we've got special events for our wild winter, and if you'd like to come and join us and take photographs of the girls and share them with us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, that'd be fantastic.